Qtoday. Qtoday. Qtoday.
Well, hello, Quesnel, and welcome to Qtoday. I'm Allison Duddy.
And I'm Nate Bello, and this is our show for June 4th.
Our top stories from The Observer: the city remains positive after negative media remarks about the West Quesnel land stability issue, and another Skyfest update.
Yes, it's going to be a big, big festival.
It is.
And coming up later in the show, Susan McNeil is back, and I have a conversation with Janice Butler about her new career as an author.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. Good. All right, here at Qtoday, we bring you the recent news from the Quesnel Caribou Observer, and we also bring you our own stories from the community. So let's move right along to the news here with Nate.
Okay, thank you very much, Allison.
You're welcome.
Well, after provincial media made negative remarks regarding the status of the West Quesnel land stability program, the city is remaining positive. Mayor Mary Schustrom said, "We had a great turnout for the West Quesnel land stability meeting, and I believe, with the very preliminary results on dewatering, it looks positive as we look forward with the balance of the project." More than 70 Quesnel residents attended the open house to learn more about the stability program from city staff and engineering consultants. Ongoing monitoring is a key in the key areas will continue for the next 12 to 14 months and will include all new and existing installations, as well as 134 automated instruments generating data by the minute, and 47 quarterly GPS readings. Once the 2013 annual monitoring report is submitted, they'll be better able to assess what effects the full-scale dewatering has had. The city said next steps include interpreting the data, further design work, addressing deficiencies, and lobbying senior levels of government for continued financial partnership. And you know, Allison, this is like about a 15 to 20-year-old project. It started about a long time ago. In fact, my first thing as mayor was going to a meeting in Uplands about this very thing.
Really?
And that, what is that, 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah. And so, you know, when I saw that ad in that newspaper article provincially, I said, they were treating it like it was a news story, that people were all freaked out. Come on, people know about it. They know that there's improvements being made, and that they're working on it.
It's a work in progress. No, I agree. When I saw it on TV, I kind of thought the same thing. I thought, well, that's like old news. But
20
anyways,
years,
that's right.
Okay.
All right. Well, Kent Pike is in his 800-pound interstate cadet with a 37-foot wingspan, stumbles a descent, then scrapes his wingtip down the runway. The crowd gasps, not certain if this is part of the act or truly a tragedy unfolding before them. Well, it's all part of this veteran airshow's pilot's spectacular show, which he's bringing to Skyfest August the 3rd and 4th. But Pike has other tricks in his bags, including a dead stick routine from 6,000 feet and a rooftop landing on a moving RV. Pike said, "If you can't entertain, you have no business being out there." that would be pretty entertaining.
Amazing.
It is.
Dead stick. All right.
So since 1973, Pike has performed his incredible aerobatic routines for lots of people at more than something like 400 air shows that have taken him to quality venues throughout the US and Canada. Tickets for Skyfest are available at Circle S Western Wear and the Tourist Information Center. If you'd like more information on Skyfest, you can visit www.quesnelskyfest.ca. And we also have some other news in Skyfest.
Okay.
Skyfest and Iris have actually partnered up, and they're doing a promotional barbecue in the Iris parking lot this Saturday, June the 8th, from 10 to 4. They'll be selling hot dogs and all kinds of goodies, and there's a prize draw also of some fancy pants sunglasses that Iris has donated, and those are valued at $400, so that's a pretty good prize draw. They'll also be selling tickets on the Mustang, and they're hoping to have the Mustang wheel there on display for that also at Iris. So
now
get over there and check it out.
Let me get this straight, Elsa.
Okay.
Did you say he's going to be landing on a moving RV? Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay, good.
I'd like to go just to see that alone.
Excellent. This is going to be a Skyfest unlike no other.
I think you're right.
Okay, the city of Quesnel has received its first microbrewery application. And the proposed microbrewery is planned to be at 185 Davie Street. As the city has never had an application for a microbrewery, there are no bylaws or zoning restrictions in place right now. So Tanya Turner has recommended a spot zone for the project. Tanya is our city planner. And several factors were considered during the city's research into the possible implications of microbreweries and its potential impact. These factors, compiled into a report by Turner, included garbage outflow, water and waste water usage, aroma and odor, storage, traffic, as well as gas and hazards. Each factor was discussed, and the proponents for the project addressed how they are going to handle each concern. Mary Schustrom said she thinks a microbrewery would be a much added would add much needed diversification to Quesnel. A public hearing is set for June 10th at 6:30 p.m. in the City Council chambers. Ellison, guess what?
Tell me, Nate.
I grew up next to a brewery.
Oh, really?
That's right. When I was about 5 years old, we had a brewery up the hill from us. And believe me, our neighborhood was known throughout the city. Because as you entered it, it was like going to Port Alberni in the old days. I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be like that now. But,
yeah.
And the other thing is, what do you think about that site?
I think it would be nice to do something with that.
Yeah.
With that spot that they're
Yeah.
planning for it. It's kind of been just there for years and years,
Yeah.
just getting a little more dilapidated every year.
Yeah, it has
so it
been,
would be
yeah.
nice for somebody to get in there
Yeah.
and spruce it up a little bit, I think.
Get rid of that eyesore and make something
That's
that
right.
is almost would be like a tourist spot, really, if you could see that.
I think it would be great.
Okay,
You bet.
great.
All right, Ray Daggett submitted a story in Friday's Observer recognizing the winner of this year's $1,000 Power Pioneers Community Achievement Award. That's Danielle Robert, and she's a student from Coraloo High. Daggett went on to highlight some of the many volunteer activities Danielle has been involved with, such as Girl Guides of Canada, event volunteering and fundraising, mentoring as a big sister, the Royal Canadian Air Cadets program, and she was also a Rotary Exchange student in France, tutoring other students in English while she was there. So congratulations to Danielle Robert, this year's winner of the Power Pioneers Community Achievement Award. She sounds like a very busy girl.
You know, there's so many talented people in Quesnel.
There are.
You know,
Yeah.
I think at Coraloo just the other day, a lot of students put forward their talents, and it was a fantastic event. And probably we'll talk about it later on Thursday.
Sounds good.
Okay, the first annual Stompin' Tom Carnes Festival is opening the Sunset Theatre's 2013 season in Wells on June 29th, and it's going to run until Canada Day, July 1st. This grassroots gathering will celebrate a great Canadian life, spirit, and song. Musicians such as Joey Only will perform selections of Tom's repertoire, and festival goers will have the opportunity to take part in sing-alongs, plus dance their boots off at the Caribou Clagaroo. Clagaroo, that's what you call it. Okay. In addition to music, the festival will include poetry, prose readings, and theater inspired by Stompin' Tom. For tickets, general information, and dates, contact the Sunset Theatre at 250-994-3400 or STE-Fest at sunset-theatre.com. For further information, contact Bill Horn at 250-994-2332.
Thanks, Nate. All right, moving on to sports. A trio of women from Quesnel made their way to Kelowna to take part in the Fem Sport Challenge. The team, called Mac Attack, so named by taking the first letter of each member's name, Amelie Dieger, Kelly Syka, and Megan Booth, along with a C for coach, took third in the novice category. While the impressive finish added spice to the weekend, being in the competition as teammates and competitors cheered was a great experience for the women. They hauled, lifted, pushed, and dragged their way through a series of 5 challenges. The team faced off against 14 other competing teams, plus unaffiliated competitors from all over Western Canada. So congratulations to all 3 of those ladies on such an excellent finish.
More talent.
That's
More
right,
talent.
we keep saying it.
Well, Susan McNeil's back with her segment on home-based businesses. Here she is with Kay Whitehead, an independent dog trainer who's affiliated with Clear Sailing Dog Sports. Let's take a look.
Good day, Quinnell. It's Susan McNeil here once again with one of our home-based business segments. And today I'd like to welcome Kay Whitehead. Thanks for coming, Kay.
Pleased to meet you.
Kay is an independent dog trainer that works with dogs in agility, and she's also affiliated with the Clear Sailing Dog Sports. So, Kay, could you tell us a little bit about the dogs, first of all, because we have them here on the set today.
Okay, well, I have two dogs right now. This is Nell, closest to you, and this is Trip. Trip was born deaf. I took him as a rescue at 9 weeks, and he also became epileptic at 6 months, which is controlled with medication. I still trial him in agility, but he has some limitations.
Okay.
I took Nell as a rescue at 6 months. She was deemed to be too nervous and would never do anything by the breeder. She had been kicked in the face by a cow at a very young age and is missing teeth. But she's doing wonderfully, and she's going to make her actual debut in agility this year. She messed around a little bit. She's just starting. I've previously trained 4 agility trial champions of my own, and I coach other people, of course.
So you have an agility workshop, school type idea. Is that how it works? Or
I do sets of classes.
Okay,
8 weeks per set, and I train 3 nights a week with people, and I try to limit it to that so that I can also have a life. And then my classes run for. If I have 6 dogs in the class, which is usually my max, it runs for about 2 hours.
Okay.
And I don't care if people ever really want to compete. I don't mind that, but I do want them to be serious about doing the job properly with their dog. You know.
So tell us, Kay, tell the viewing audience actually where we would get in touch with you. I don't know, are you on Facebook, Twitter, email?
Yeah,
what would that be?
I'm on Facebook, just under my name, Kay Whitehead. You can reach me by phone at 250-992-3881. Also by email at kayw@quinnellbc.com.
Perfect. So that's how we can get in touch with Kay. When are your next set of classes starting to run? And second part of the question is, are people invited to come and actually watch?
I would like, yes, people could come and watch and see what I'm doing. Of course, I would like them to contact me, although it would be hard for them to turn up because they'd probably not know where I live. But yeah, my set of classes, I just started this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it's the first night of my Thursday class today.
All right.
And that will run for 8 weeks. And then I take some time off in July because we have our Clear Sailing Agility trial at the beginning of July on the 6th and 7th, I believe. And then I take part in a camp which will be taking place at Robert's Roost also.
Okay.
And then I restart my classes at the end of July for another 8-week session.
Well, that sounds exciting, and I know that I have actually been up at Robert's Roost many times when the dog agility trials are going on, and I've thoroughly enjoyed watching the dogs. It's very interesting and very fast-paced, by the way, and I'm just so impressed at all the dogs, because my dogs actually are couch potatoes. They're obedient, but they're obedient couch potatoes.
Right.
So if anybody would like to come to Robert's Roost on the 6th and 7th of July, you are in an agility training or in agility trials?
Yes.
Is that what you're doing?
Yes, this is Agility Association of Canada sanctioned trial.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because we're a nationwide association in Canada, and we hold regional and national competitions. We held our first one in 2001 when I was president of the association.
Oh, okay.
And I was also judging at that time, but I didn't judge the nationals. I ran 3 dogs in it, you know. But I'd like to say any dog can basically do agility. The only problem is if you've got a super heavy big dog, it's hard on the dog's body. But apart from that, any dog can really do it. And as we were talking earlier, I don't have border collies to do agility. I've just always owned border collies.
So the agility just became a natural sequence because of the dog that you actually already own.
Yes, I was doing competitive obedience for many years with different breeds also, but I've always come back to my border collies.
Okay.
You know?
So what I'm gathering you saying is that agility is all across the country. You've traveled many places, have you?
Oh, well, I've traveled, the furthest away I've ever judged was in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
I've trialed all across as far as Manitoba and down into the States.
Great.
Under USDAA, which is the United States, one of the United States associations for agility.
Okay.
I've also done seminars in Canada and the United States and so on. Yes.
So there you have it, folks. Kay Whitehead, independent agility trainer, and you are the go-to lady, obviously, to go to for agility. And we would welcome you to drop by Robert's Roost on July 6th and 7th, just to have a looky-loo and see what it's all about and enjoy the dogs. So
absolutely, it'll be
thanks,
going
Kay.
from 8 in the morning until about 5 in the evening.
Lovely.
Both days.
Well, thank you for coming, and we look forward to coming up and watching the dogs and yourself.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Bye now.
Bye.
Now, we all know that Janice Butler, from her days down in Kersley and her wonderful performances with casts of hundreds, now she's turning her sights to the literary realm. Here's Nate in conversation with Janice Butler.
Okay, thanks to our anchors, Nate and Allison. Here we are, Nate in conversation with Janice Butler. Hi, Janice.
Hi, Nate. Nice
and Paula
to see you.
Sword.
Hi, Nate.
Good. Thanks very much for coming in.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Very exciting,
It's exciting.
News you have here with the publication of your new book, Toes to the Front.
Yes.
And wow, it's you must be very proud.
Yes. Very excited about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of been a work in progress.
Okay, we're going to get into the book itself and the life, and it says Toes to the Front and other life lessons. So we'll be learning a little bit about those lessons. But first, let's hear a little bit about your background. You're both mainstays in Quesnel, been here for a long time.
Yeah.
Janice, everybody knows you were involved with
The Kersley Musical Theatre and the Yellow Ribbon Suicide Prevention Program.
And is that still going, the yes part? Because I know the
The
is
performance
done
part
now.
isn't going, but the
Right.
suicide prevention program is still going. Yeah.
and that's connected to your work as a counselor in town?
Absolutely, yes.
And you
I'm
are-
still in full practice and busy as can be. Yeah.
And the name
you
of the
bet.
practice is?
Janice Butler Counseling Services.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And where are you located?
I'm just actually across from Big Brothers Big Sisters and not far from the arena.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
And Paula, you've been a photographer for a long time, eh?
Not really.
No.
No.
Okay.
Actually, I just took a photography course about a year and a half ago, and I have fell in love with it.
I can't believe it. I mean,
I know.
when you look at these pictures, I thought, Gordon Perry, watch out.
I have an excellent teacher, Tina Kazimer from Northern Persona Photography.
Right.
I love her, and
Oh,
she's
good.
been an inspiration to me. And a lot of these are from the course throughout assignments she's provided, and then around town, and Hawaii has actually, a recent trip there has given me a
Wow.
lot.
It's fantastic. So, but you also work at Caribou Pulp?
Work at Caribou Pulp and Paper here in
Okay.
Quesnel for the last 17 years, yeah.
Okay, good. You're getting your pension. Fantastic. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the book, Toes to the Front and Other Life Lessons. First of all, my first question would be, where did that name come from?
Okay, well that's an easy story to tell and it's actually one of the lessons in the book. Out at Kersley Theatre, if you ever were around, you would hear me yelling, "Toes to the front, toes to the front," because in theatre it's sort of one of those rules that you make sure that you're facing the audience so they get your best face. And so if people turned their backsides to us, it was quite a production. Everybody would, run up to them and turn them around, and
Right.
it became sort of a fun thing that everybody got. One time we even had two little girls hanging on to somebody's feet because they would not keep their toes to the front. So we placed a child on each one of their feet so they couldn't move.
And so that had translated into the name of this book because?
Because the book, the lesson that goes with Toes to the Front was really about staying open to the audience, staying open to life. not looking into the past, not looking backwards, but keeping yourself focused where you were going rather than where you'd come from.
And you wrote all the little stories in here?
I did.
Okay. And how long?
Made them up.
You made them up, and it's if we just get into the idea of what's inside here, it's a bunch of lessons, about 30 lessons, life
Yes.
lessons.
Yes.
And what's the purpose of that?
Well, you know, as we did the productions, I was often giving what I would call sermons to the cast and crew. So I'd call them together. There's 150 of them, and I'd say, we're going to talk about being kind, or we're going to talk about being enthusiastic. And so then I would give them a story and a lesson about that and how it applied to the work that we were doing. And some people even would call it their church. They'd say, oh, I came for church. So when we wrapped Kersley up, I thought, you know, those lessons are really important to me. They were a big part of the production process. And so I said to Paula, who was kind of always my right-hand girl, I want to write those lessons down, and would you help me, because she's very creative, put them into like a little booklet to give to the cast as a gift. And so she did that, and we made 200 plus copies and gave everybody that was ever involved. And there were 12 lessons at that point, because we had 2 weeks, because I thought of it
a lot
right,
of time.
you know. So then over time, I just began to write more of them and thought, you know what, there's more. Let's get them all down. And then I asked Paul if she would put photos along with it. And we just came up with this beautiful book that we hope's really blessing people.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Paula, how did you decide on what pictures go where, or how did you do it?
Well, I read all of the stories several times because of over the years reading them with Janice, because it's been 3 years in the making, all of these stories. So I knew them pretty good, and we just
Editing, helping me edit.
Yeah, I read them a lot, and going through my pictures, you know, I kind of narrowed it down to what I thought would be appropriate with the pictures, and then Janice obviously had a lot to say about that too, but you know, she was always so supportive and just open to what I was offering, so it really just kind of came together fairly quickly and fairly easily.
Magically, actually, Nate.
And, Yes.
And there's a lesson, Magic and Miracles. That
There is a lesson on magic and miracles.
Let's take an example. Is that the one you want to take? Because there's 30 lessons and they're all listed right in the front. What would be one of your favorites that we could talk about?
Well, I mean, they're all my favorites.
Of
and
course.
I have to tell you that I the first day I got the book, I went home and I laid in bed that night and I read the whole thing and I almost forgot I wrote it. And I said to my husband, laying beside me, I said, honey, these are really good. And I was kind of emotional, and then I was like, oh yeah, I wrote them, right? So they sort of all have a special place in my heart.
Right.
But you mentioned lesson 9, which is being kind.
Right.
And that was something that we encouraged a great deal out at Kersley. It was kind of the one rule. And in fact, a little girl, she did a little project for her school, paper on who her hero was, and she chose me. And she said, it was Paige Olson. She said, there's only 2 things you need to, 2 rules that Janice has at Kersley. And one is keep your toes to the front.
Right.
And the second one is be kind.
Right.
And that was really a mainstay for us. We gave out kindness awards. We encouraged kindness through sneaky little acts of kindness.
Right.
And so this lesson is really, in particular, meaningful to me. And that picture was Richard Sutton, who many people know Richard because he was usually our leading man, extremely talented.
Right.
And he's helping a little autistic boy right before Richard is meant to go on stage. He's helping him with his suspenders that have broke. And that's just, to me, the epitome of what we were all about. He could have been a leading man who wouldn't have even paid any attention to that child, but we had so groomed that type of atmosphere that it was just natural for people to be kind to one another.
Yes, and then you have quotes throughout the book. For in this one
we
is
love
kindness.
Quotes.
Yeah. Mark Twain's kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
And Paula, you
is that beautiful picture?
Some of these pictures you picked out probably connected to the lessons, eh?
Yes.
So that flower just is something that's,
To me, it was open, it was ready to serve, you know?
it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, open and ready to serve. Yeah, so vulnerable too.
Yeah.
Okay, so how are these books being used? Or what are some uses that people will
Well, it's
do?
kind of exciting because people are coming back to me, and they're selling really well. People are coming back to me and saying things like they're using them in their tops clubs for like once a month. They're taking one of the lessons in there, and they've been doing that since the first one that was given out, the little 12 lesson. A couple told me last week that they were sharing one lesson a day, and they'd lay in bed at night and they just sort of randomly pick, and then they would read the lesson to one another.
Wow.
And there's a program in our community called the Bridging Program, which is a class, and that instructor bought books for all of her students. So there seems to be a lot of different ways that people are using them. I even signed one last week, Merry Christmas. Somebody was buying it for a Christmas present, and she says, "Could you write Merry Christmas?" And I was like, "Sure." You're planning ahead.
Wow,
but
right.
Yeah, that was
Well,
great.
I certainly could see using it at McNaughton Center, by the way. Maybe I'll talk to the principal
neat.
there.
That's a
You know,
great
I used to be
idea.
I used to work there.
Yes,
Yeah, that's a good-
absolutely.
okay, we'll talk to Dennis about that.
Absolutely.
Where can you buy these?
These are available at Janice's office. They are also available at Joyful Expressions, downtown Quesnel, the Green Tree Wellness store downtown. And if anyone wants to contact us through Facebook or email, JaniceLovesYouButler.com. At gmail.com.
Okay, yeah, we'll get that
Karen,
down. We'll get that down on the. Yeah.
Karen's Deli.
Karen's Deli.
And on the internet or anything?
Not yet.
Karen's
We're
Deli
getting there.
and
Okay.
Caribou Keepsakes.
Okay.
Just around the corner.
Keepsakes too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I haven't caught her up
We
to
haven't
date
talked
yet.
lots.
So
Okay.
Karen's and Caribou Keepsake. And
Well, I'm sure that.
it's in the front, Nate, the email address. It's right on the front page.
And would you like to add anything? You had some help doing this for your final.
Well, Doug Koyama, who's a dear friend of ours, he is a graphic designer, and so when I mentioned the book to him, he was just thrilled and happy to be part of it. And the three of us sat down together and we just said, what's our intention? And it was to really bless and serve people with the lessons that are enclosed in this. So that's our hope, and it feels like that's what's happening, that it's a blessing for people. So,
Paula, your last comment?
I'm just grateful to be a part of this project, and if anybody else in Quesnel wants to sell it for us, we're open to that too.
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm sure I mean, I know people are going to just love this
So
book.
far, it's been really well received.
Well
so
received,
we're grateful
yeah.
for that.
Well, we'll have to
Quesnel
end it
support
for
of
there, but thank you
Okay,
very much,
thank
Paula,
you.
for coming in. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you,
Really
Nate.
fantastic. Another plus for Quesnel.
Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
That was a neat interview. She is a very talented woman.
Yes, I agree.
It's time now for Sun Shutters. Dave took some pictures at the farmers market last Saturday of the Coraloo Jazz Band, headed by Sean Smith. More talent. Let's take a look.
Now it's time to check out what's happening locally with our community calendar.
So remember,
Q Today is about.
Quesnel talking to Quesnel.
Bye for now.